What is going on, guys? I hope you are well wherever you are, whatever the time, and we're back with another commentary. And I thought, I'm back from my devolume sessions, my deload, whatever you want to call it. I'm back to full intensity, and I'm also back to, I honestly think, my favorite session of the week. So I thought, you know what, let me film the session, do a commentary, talk you guys through it, talk about a couple of different things, and yeah, let's get right into it. So I'm back from the devolume, and with the devolume that I just done, I basically just take one set away from every single exercise, and I also dramatically reduce the intensity. I'm not gonna lie, it's not enjoyable at all, but I feel like when you get to a point where you're really experienced and you're really pushing yourself in the gym to the point where you're trying to add more reps every week, you're trying to increase the load you're using, and you're pretty much just training to close to failure every single week, you need that break, you need that kind of time. So yeah, I essentially done that. I done a devolume week. It done its job, right? Like, my joints feel a lot fresher going into this week, but yeah, I just didn't enjoy it. But anyway, start off the session with single leg calf raises, and I do them single leg because that toe press, I don't want to have to gym pin it. It just becomes a hassle. I would rather just use one leg so I don't have to gym pin it. I can use a little bit less load. And also I found that when I'm using two legs, one side typically takes over. So I think single leg just gets rid of that issue. Also really good to do calf raises, any calf work before you do a squat, because it stretches your ankles really well. Not only that, but it also just gets them done, because you're going to get to the end of legs and you're 100% going to skip calves because you're going to want to go home, you're tired, you're ruined. Just do them first to get them out of the way. So done 2 sets on those, then I moved on to leg extensions. Typically in this session, I would actually do the adductor next, but I've been having some issues with my hip. I actually think I have a hip impingement. I need to get an MRI scan and whatnot, but part of that involves as well my adductors being really tight, and I think that has an impact on my squat. So if I do adductors before I squat, I think it only just makes the issue worse. Whereas I thought, you know what, let me do leg extensions next, get the quads warm, get the knees warm, do adductors last, and let's see how much of an impact it has on my squat and how I feel. So done leg extensions, 2 sets on here, and as I've said many times before, I am a huge fan of doing high reps on leg extensions. Whenever I'm doing reps like 6 to 8, 8 to 10 reps on leg extension, and I'm going for those heavy loads, my knees just end up getting busted eventually. And even with a more conservative approach, they just end up getting ruined. So high rep, really focus on contracting hard at the top, like 15 to 25 reps. First set was 25 reps. I then done a rest pause set. So not rest pause, sorry. No, the next set was a drop set. So I done as many reps as I could, and I didn't really take too long of a rest period between both sets. But I done as many reps as I could, and then I dropped the weight down, and then I done a little 2-second hold at the top. So you'll just see it was horrible, absolutely brutal. And unpopular opinion maybe, I honestly think leg extensions are more painful and worse than Bulgarian split squats. I honestly don't think split squats are that bad. They hurt, they suck, but if you really take things far on a leg extension, it is excruciating. The pain is just different because you're loading the muscle when it's completely short. It's just horrible. And it's the only leg movement really that does this. So yeah, leg extensions. We then moved on to the GOAT right now. The GOAT, in my opinion. I love this exercise so much. It's incredible. It just works so well with my body, my anatomy, and my awful shoulder mobility. Safety bar squat, and I just done some warm-up sets. I warm up with the bar, 60, 100, then we moved on to 120, and you'll see with my warm-ups, I take my time, but I also treat my warm-ups with a lot of respect, and I'm aggressive with them, and I'm trying to imitate exactly how I perform every single rep of my working set. There's too many people that try and just rush through their warm-ups, and they treat their warm-ups with no respect. They treat their warm-ups like, oh yeah, I'm stronger than this, and it's almost to show off in front of the gym or be like, that's light. But you really want to show your warm-ups respect, and it's for your benefit. It's for you to potentiate those muscles and get you in the habit of doing that movement correctly and feeling things properly. So take your time with warm-ups, but also respect the weight that you're using as well. Last warm-up set was just a rep with 3 plates, and again, it felt really good. No pain, and my hips felt really good. I did stretch a lot before the session. I'd done a lot of mobility work, and I had been doing a lot of mobility work in my devolume week, so I think that paid dividends a little bit. But I think leaving the hip adductors until kind of the last thing that I do, or after the squats, honestly is a bit of a game changer for me, and I should have done it a while ago, to be honest with you. And I'm debating reducing down the volume of hip adductors, Jesus Christ, hip adductions, just to see how my hip responds, but we'll see. Anyway, working set was 150 kilos for 10 reps, and the biggest challenge really with this, yeah, there's a massive challenge on my quads, obviously. Also, that hoodie going up the booty is horrendous. That's so bad. Oh my God. I need to consider what I'm wearing. Damn. But yeah, there's a massive challenge to the quads, obviously, a lot of knee flexion, but it's also a massive challenge to my upper body. And I actually think there's merit in that. I think there's merit in me holding a lot of weight on my back and having to stabilize my whole upper back. I think that'll just reflect in my physique, as broy as that might sound. So yeah, first set was 150 for 10. Felt good. I'm going to go up to 160 next week if hips and knees allow it. I then dropped the weight right down to 100 kilos, but what I do is like a 2-second pause, so it just changes the cadence of the movement. It also puts less stress on my knees. I haven't got to use as much load. Like, yes, I could do a back off set at like 130, but I think doing 100 kilos and slowly working my way up with that on paused reps means that I can save my knees for a little bit longer, which when I'm kind of at this level, I'm almost like 10 years deep into training. It's more so now about just not getting hurt, being able to progress without getting hurt. Don't get injured, because if I get injured, I can't train progressively. So you have to find ways to make sure that, yes, you're progressing, but you're also doing as little damage as possible to your joints. Cardio was definitely being challenged on these pause reps, but they felt good, felt really nice. And I'm just going to slowly work my way up with this weight. And then after I done the pause reps, I then went on to the pivot leg press, which is honestly really good. And the gym recently got this in. The gym used to only... No, I didn't. Damn, I went on to your adductors. What am I talking about? Went on to your adductors, guys. Adductor machine, added 50 kilos to the stack. I don't really like doing this, as I've said to you many times before, because eventually the machine's going to break. I've actually broken this machine once before. Not on the stack, but where the little pin where you move the foot plates, I've broken that before. And I think like the stack is genuinely just too light for anybody. Like, my mum could walk into the gym and do the stack. It's just, there's just no resistance really whatsoever. I think that's also a good reason for me to put it at this point in the session, because I haven't got to go as heavy, which again is a plus. I'm doing as much as possible to make this movement as hard as I possibly can, but I'm definitely going to leave this at the back end of my session from now on, because it just felt so much better, so much better. This one, just thinking about getting as big of a stretch as possible. My hips again are pretty stiff because my adductors are so tight, that whole area, so I need to make sure that I'm getting as big of a stretch as possible. And I almost just use the weight to stretch my legs out, which feels pretty nice and relieving. And then just drive in as hard as you possibly can, give it a 2-second hold, and then stretch again. Then we moved on to the pivot leg press, which the gym has recently got, and it's really good. I like it. It's heavy where it needs to be heavy, so it's really heavy at the bottom, and then it kind of drops off, like heavy at the bottom in the mid area, and then it drops off at the top, which is why you might see a lot of people band this. So they'll put a band around the whole machine, so that when you extend, that tension just increases as you extend, which is something that I might actually do, because again, it means I haven't got to keep adding more and more plates to the machine. But honestly, felt really good with this as well, because it's heavy at the bottom, it's heavy where the muscle is stretched. That's obviously ideal, but because it drops off at the top, I think it's also a shout for me to get someone to spot me, because I can push myself a little bit further. If I get to the point where I'm failing in that stretch position, I could have someone just help take me out of that just a touch, then I'll be able to finish a rep. Just take me out of it just a touch, and I'll be able to finish a rep, and again and again. And I think that would be a little bit wiser. But yeah, I might also, like I said, just band this as well. I think putting a band around it to create more tension at the top would be a good shout as well. And then I done a second set, which was a rest pause set. So as many reps as I possibly can, and then I rest for 15 seconds, and then can perform as many reps as I possibly can. And this was absolutely disgusting, brutal. But again, it's a really good way for me to get high reps, not use tons of load, look after the knees, and feel my legs explode. My quads literally felt on fire. They were just full of blood. And yeah, watching this back now is honestly making me want to train legs. I just enjoy that feeling in the legs. Prior to all of this leg work as well, like I said at the start of the video, I done a lot of mobility work, specifically focusing on my hips, because that's been causing me a few issues, which I'm for sure going to get sorted out. But I also done some ab work as well. So I done a crunch on the cables just prior to going into my leg work, because again, for me, abs isn't really enjoyable. I feel like I'm in this routine now where I walk on the treadmill for a little bit, I go do abs, then I do my calves, and the stuff that I just don't enjoy doing is done. And then when I've actually finished training legs, I'm actually done. I can just get out of the gym. I don't need to pussyfoot around on the cables doing abs, something that I don't enjoy when my legs are already battered and I'm just mashed and I want to go and eat. In my last video as well, I announced that I'm now working with Adam under Team Power Coaching, which is exciting. Obviously, the competitive season is going to be starting soon. People are starting their preps, and I've been putting out a lot of content on Instagram, just giving people advice, how to handle things. And there was something that I wanted to talk about in this video that I think is really important for especially first-time competitors, and it's about keeping your humility in a competition prep. So what I mean by that is, just because you're going into a competition prep, the world around you isn't going to change. Like, you're not now more important because you're doing a competition prep. Just because you can't do something in the order that you want to do it in the gym, just because someone's been on the machine for a long time, just because such and such in the gym and this and that, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're in a competition prep. It doesn't matter what you're doing. Just because you're now going through this process, it doesn't mean that your process is more important than anybody else's. And I really think that's an important message, because prep for a lot of people is this really big thing. Like, it's a big mentality switch. It's like, oh, I'm on prep now. And people sometimes get this idea that everyone now has to bow down to them, and what you're doing is this massive important mission, and it's not. It's really not. And I think that's really important to remember when you go through your prep, and especially your first one, because I think that happens to a lot of first timers. So please just remember that. Remain humble, keep your humility in prep, and just enjoy the process. Really, honestly, just enjoy it. There's gonna be times when it's gonna be tough. You're gonna feel not yourself at times, but just remember that everybody else around you isn't going through that prep. It is just you, and it is a choice. So anyway, I finished with Bulgarian split squats, and then we got the hell out of the gym. So thank you for watching the video. I will be back next week for another video. I am considering what type of content. I am thinking it's going to be some sort of food related video, but we shall see. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. As always, press that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.